deactivated. I have it started.
Okay, try to make me a host. When you click next to my name, give me the privileges of the host to see if it continues working with the recording or if it's gonna stop. You're the host. Recording in progress. Okay, so you can be the host for the whole day.
Fantastic.
I wasn't sure that this works, but okay, yes, it works.
Yeah.
Just make
Recording
sure you have it enabled. It doesn't matter if you leave it from now because we're gonna cut the video later.
Okay. Okay, perfect. Perfect.
Okay, so I will be around. If you need anything, just let me know.
Okay, now I can manage to do the question and ask. Okay. Thank you. Okay, perfect. Perfect. Okay, now I need to do another thing. Okay, are you ready here? And I wait for the attendees. Hello, good morning, Diego. We're gonna start in a couple of minutes. Okay. Hello, good morning, Luis, Diego. Are you there, Luis and Diego?
Yes, hello, good morning.
Good morning, how are you?
Fine, fine.
Fine, okay. Okay, we're going to start. Just open your micro to say you hello and to give you thank you for connecting. And we will continue with the second part of this session about encryption techniques. So, like we did yesterday, I will unmute you in order to don't have voices around. And if you want to talk, you can write me in the chat or raise the hand, and I'll give you the voice. So we start. Here we go. Okay. Good morning, anyone. We're gonna continue with this second part of the encryption techniques module during this course of the DLT4ALL program. Yesterday, we've been talking about the different encryption techniques, and more than the techniques, we were making an introduction about story and how the cryptography applied to blockchain. We had the chance to identify what was in the basis of the cryptocurrency, of the cryptography and the encryption techniques in order to understand if in the basis of the cryptocurrency, what we have to approach to the blockchain and how important is the cryptography and decryption techniques on blockchain. Yesterday, so we did this introduction. We talked about the hash functionalities. We saw that the importance of the public and private keys, and how this hash function will be the key to understand how we send or how we transfer the information in blockchain. So to continue, we can take this picture just to follow the line from yesterday about how the encryption and decryption function works. That we had plain text with a key, an algorithm that gives us a ciphertext, and the decryption, how this ciphertext with the key and the algorithm, it gives us again the plain text. So after the hash functionality, we stopped the symmetric and asymmetric cryptography. And yesterday, there were some of you who asked specifically with the asymmetric cryptography, and that's what we will be dealing during these 2 hours, about how the asymmetric encryption encryption works, and how we call it in general public key cryptography. To start, let's watch a video that will explain us how does it works. Okay, let me. Can you confirm me in the chat if you are watching the video, the YouTube page?
Yeah,
Okay.
we see.
Okay, thank you. Here we go. Mhm. Well, as you can see in the video, oops, I suppose that in the first part of the video you didn't have the sound, but well, it was all in the text. We can see how this public keys works and how it is important to understand what the public key function does and what the private key does. Asymmetric cryptography, remember that when we are talking about asymmetric cryptography or encryption, we are talking about public key cryptography. We say that when it comes to the word encryption, we think of it as a technique that protects data using a cryptography key. And there's nothing wrong with this. That means that you can use it as free as you want. The story about the asymmetric cryptography, it becomes at the 1977 with this paper, New Directions in Cryptography. And this concept had been independently uncovered and proposed by Dr. James Ellis several years earlier. where he was working for the government in British intelligence. So we have here again, like we talked yesterday, with the military, that the British intelligence or the intelligence of these departments of intelligence. Remember always that in the United States, the CIA is the Central Intelligence Agency. And they are the people who are worried about what info or not info are going through in this case, in the net, to understand if there is something wrong that could happen or something bad. The asymmetric algorithms outlined in this Herman paper use numbers raised to specific powers to produce these decrypted keys. So they initially teamed up in the 1974 to work on solving the problem of the key distribution problem. We saw yesterday that the cryptography, it was along of our history as human, along of the human history, and since 40, 50 years ago, there was more advanced cryptography uses. Remember also that we talked yesterday about the Alan Turing and the Turing machine, and how it was being developed so many specific functions like these public keys and this asymmetric cryptography. Asymmetric encryption encrypts and decrypts the data using two separate yet mathematically connected cryptographic keys. These keys are known as public key and private key. And together, of course, they are public and private key part. And when we are talking about cryptography, it's quite common and quite frequently to talk in these terms. Hey, give me your private key, or no, okay, the private key never, but give me your public key so I can send you to your public key some info like we saw in the video. And in this way, we can be sure that this info or this data will be encrypted. How is this process? The first part, the encryption. Asymmetric encryption uses two distinct yet related keys, as we know, the public and the private. Public key is used for encryption. Private key is the one that it owns to us, it belongs to us, is used for decryption. As implied in the name, the private key is intended to be private. So that's the only authenticator recipient to decrypt the message. This private key in the beginning, when the first use case of blockchain, that it was the Bitcoin, it's very important to understand what is the meaning of this private key, because in cryptocurrencies, the private key, it will be the key to access to your cryptocurrencies. And if you forget, or if you lose, or if you don't have with you this private key, you cannot access to your currencies. So there is a common meme that we say that if you don't own your keys, if you don't own your currencies, okay? So this private key is the one that you must keep safe with you. Some people store it in their mind. Some people store it in a security box. Some people make any kind of mnemotaking technique, and some people can even write in a piece of paper and put it on the table, as we always did, or we are used to see with so many people. Okay? But take care about this concept of the private key, because it will be the way and the only way that will allow you to decrypt a message. So if you are sending info, so if you are sending data, if you are encrypting data, if you lose this private key, you will lose your data. The process is, as we can see here, got sender and a recipient. The recipient with a public key send to the sender this public key that it will refer to a data. The sender, in this case, will message with public key to a secret that wants to send, and with the private key, she can read the message. So it's a asymmetric cryptography because we are using the two keys. One for make it public that you want to send something to someone. Remember, it is encrypted. And the other one that it's only owned by the ones who is the recipient of the message. Imagine in this process, pretend that you are a spy agency and you need to devise this mechanism for your agents to report it securely. You don't need two ways of communication. They have their others. You just need regular, detailed reports coming in from them. Asymmetric encryption will allow you to create public keys for the agents to encrypt their information and a private key back at headquarters that it is the only way to decrypt it. This provides an impenetrable form of one-way communication. Imagine now that you are not a spy agency. Imagine now that you are at your own professional activity or at you as a student or as a teacher or whatever. So I want you to make a little reflection about how it will be useful for you, this asymmetric cryptography process. How it will be used in your normal or in your frequently communication, in which situations you will find it interesting. So give you a couple of minutes, 5 minutes to think about a situation, about how this use case of asymmetric cryptography will give you a benefit in your professional life or in your personal life in what kind of communication. Of course, you don't have to say what are you intended to communicate. Just to identify what is the use case that you think that this asymmetric cryptography process, this public and private key will be used. So give you a couple of minutes, and then I will open your micros to share with your colleagues. If there is anyone that cannot speak because it's with more people in the room or whatever, you can also write it on the chat. Okay, I open the micros. If someone wants to speak, please feel free to do it. David is sharing in the chat the importance, and it's crucial, and I agree with you, how we to verify the identity of the person that is creating and encrypting the message. And this is one of the key points about the encryption and the blockchain. It aims to solve it. Is the problem of the digital identity, or how to verify the identity of the people. These days, I've been working on several panels about the convenience or not of this digital ID, and I imagine that you also realize that during this COVID-19, this pandemic, the word, or the buzzword, because it's a buzzword about the health passport. And it's a key point. It's a key point on how to verify that if the public key that someone is sending you, it provides from we say real, or we say with the people that we need to share. With the digital identity, this problem, David, we think that it will be solved, because it will you can verify the identity, and also you can verify that this identity belongs to the ones who has to send you this public key. Okay, I put you the example, for example, for the example to this situation, that instead of a spy agency, we are researchers at a laboratory, and we need to share some information about one of our main research lines, and we want to do this information to keep it secret. So we can use this kind of asymmetric cryptography or public-private key in order to send us our information. There is also a hot point here about this R&D environments, because not at most in Europe, but in the United States, if you are in the research offline, and you are researching and collecting data and working with this data, and just a little bit of this data is shared or is coming public, you lose your right to patent the results of this investigation, of this research. And there is a controversy about if this encrypted data, it will be considered as published or not, because you are publishing your public key. You are not publishing the data of the research, and it all depends at the end of the interpretation of a jury, and it's a hot point, because there is some business model in blockchain based on this, no? Based on this custody of the data. This custody of the data, that you are the only one who can access it with your private key, and there is a third party that helps you with this custody and to keep them safe. Okay, so anyone wants to share any experience or any idea about how to use it. We have here an example of a digital signature, of course, and anyone wants to share with his or with your voice any idea, any example? No one wants to speak. You prefer to write. Okay. If no one, I can give you more examples. We have the privacy of the data. I mean, in the research and development process. We can also talk about the medical data, the medical results of PCR now. That we can use this kind of asymmetric cryptography. We can use it also in business context to share between the different members of a team strategic data like customers, like technology that we are using, like whatever. So we can find a lot of situations in our life. Even those who are in chats like WhatsApp or Telegram, they could realize that most of the data are encrypted point to point, and they are using a kind of asymmetric cryptography to send the info. Of course, you don't need to see the encrypted or the cipher text. You only need to send your public data, and someone with his private data can decrypt it. And of course, the user experience is important here to make it universal. Okay, let's continue with the presentation about more kinds of these certificates or these public and private keys. Yesterday we talked about it, about the SSL and TLS certificates. Both of them are symmetric ones and asymmetric other ones. And why we shouldn't asymmetric cryptography be used as more secure? Granted, more secure, but it comes with a pitfall. A pitfall is that a major drawback when it comes to public key cryptography is the computational time. So as the verification function are applied to both ideas, it's slowed down the process significantly. There is a sentence that I heard to one of the biggest reference in blockchain ecosystem, is Vitalik Buterin, the founder of Ethereum. And it was funny because we were in a conference and someone asked about the speed of the transactions. And Vitalik answered to this question in one way. And this way was, okay, Vitalik comes to the mathematical world, to the cryptographic world, and he said, hey, no one is talking about here about the speed. We are talking about security. So if we need security, this is the main point. So the speed of the transaction of the data, it won't be the priority. And of course, for other ones, the priority is the speed of the data because they want the data sent to arrive at the minimum time possible, and of course at the minimum cost possible, and of course with the maximum privacy. So that's why the symmetric encryption here has sense, and we need it to get it faster, When two parties, to explain it a little bit more, when two parties, browser and server, in the case of the SSL, come across each other, they validate each other's private and public key through this asymmetric encryption. once the verification is successful and both know whom they are talking to, that will answer David. I think that it was you, David. That will answer you about the problem of the identity. It can be a solution. They validate each other's privacy and public key through asymmetric encryption. Once the verification is successful and both know whom they are talking to, the encryption of the data starts through symmetric encryption. That means that we use the asymmetric in this first step of know whom we are talking to, and then we use a faster way. Okay, thereby saving significant time and serving the purpose of confidentiality and data protection. The key distribution problem is here eliminated because there is no need for exchanging the keys, and the security is increased as the private keys don't either have to be transmitted or revealed to anyone. The use of digital signatures is enabled so that a recipient can verify that a message comes from a particular sender. It allows for non-repudiation, and so the sender can deny sending a message. So it's a way to first verify if the person who are sending the message and the person who are receiving the message are the right person, and then we go ahead. It's a slow process, this first part of asymmetric, compared to asymmetric cryptography when there is no verification. So it's not appropriate for decrypting bulk message. If an individual loads his private key, as I told you before, he can't decrypt the message we receive. Since the public keys aren't authenticated, no one really knows if a public key belongs to the person specified. Consequently, user must verify that the public keys belong to them. Another buzzword, don't trust, verify. So we need to verify that the person who owns the key with this public key is the real person. If a hacker identifies a person's private key, the attacker can read all of that individual message. That's why the private keys usually are quite complicated. For instance, in cryptocurrency industry, we talk about 20 words of private keys. 20 words that are Boolean words. Don't choose the first 20 words of a paragraph or a book or a song, because it can be decrypted quite easy. Okay, let's continue with 2 more slides, and now to talk about an example of the RSC algorithm embedded with this protocol. Okay, here someone talked also about bank transfer. Of course, it's a quite common use, and more now that we are talking much more about digital money. That means that we can send info quite easy. Okay, let's see with this example. With this protocol, we are used to provide communication security over a computer network. Okay, RSA derives its security from the computational difficulty of factoring large integers that are the product of two large prime numbers. Someone talked yesterday also about the prime numbers and how the prime numbers are used in cryptography. It's quite common, or it's one of the, okay, I won't say that prime numbers are only for encryption, but it's a good partner to encryption. But the difficulty of determining the original number from the product forms the basis of public key cryptography security. The time it takes to factor to the product of two sufficient large primes is considered to be beyond the capabilities of most attackers, excluding nation-state actors who may access to sufficient computing power. That's a key point also now that we are talking about quantum computing and the increase of the capability of make big calculation, big computing. But well, it's shown that I don't remember now that this was 100 or 200 prime numbers results of encryption with prime numbers. It will show us maybe years of computing times to solve it. RSA keys are typically of these bits long. Then we will make an exercise that you will see what means how to play with different encryption with different bits long. But from one expert say that with this 1044 bit keys will be broken in the near future. So we are starting to talk about the 2048. Okay. For those who are the first time we are talking about encryption, just say that it's like we are multiplying by 2 the capillarity of this length of the keys, and that will show us millions of new possibilities, so millions of new encryptions, so it will be more difficult to decrypt. Unless you have your private key, of course. So, an encryption system in which the sender and receiver of a message share a single common key that is used to encrypt and decrypt the message. It will be the explanation or the description of this symmetric cryptography. Data is encrypted and decrypted using the same key. Symmetric cryptography is sometimes called secret key cryptography. We are talking now on symmetric, okay? We have been talking about asymmetric and now are in symmetric. In asymmetric, we're talking about public key and symmetric secret key cryptography. These symmetric key systems are simpler and faster, but their main drawback is that the two parties must somehow exchange the key in a secure way. We need a secure way to exchange the key. The public key encryption avoids this problem because the public key can be distributed in a non-secure way, and this private key is never transmitted. Public key encryption avoids this problem because the public key distributed in a non-secure way, and the private key is never transmitted. Okay, we are talking about a maybe high level of security, but we need more confidence, we can see. So public key encryptions, it seems to be the best option. Example of symmetric algorithms are these three of here. And the most popularity are the data encryption standard. The most popular. Remember that when we are talking about encryption, there are like two focus. There is one focus on the technical part, and the technical part will also always try to find the most secure way. And there is another focus about the user experience, about how we can interact with this level of security. And sometimes and during the evolution of the cryptography, we prefer to lose a little bit of security in order to make it more easy to use. More easy. Remember, in asymmetric, we were talking about long bits, and here we are talking about 56-bit keys, and they are short enough to be easily viewed for by modern hardware, and this recommends that they should not be used. As much technology we have, this small, we can say small, if 56-bit keys, we consider it small, but it can be easy to hack with different softwares to do it with crackers. Just think about how long are your passwords and how long are your keys, or if any of you are using more than 8 characters to decrypt any of your private accounts. Advantage of the symmetric cryptography by the other side. It's simple. This time of encryption is easy to carry out. All users have to do is specify and share the secret key and then begin to encrypt and decrypt message. It's easy. Encrypt and decrypt your own files. If you use encryption for message, it will files which you alone intend to access. There is no need to create different keys. This is what, like when we create a private document, a PDF or whatever, and we put a password. We are talking about that. It's fast. Symmetric key encryption is much faster than asymmetric key encryption. Use less computer resource. Single key encryption does not require a lot of computer resource when compared to public key encryption. It's because mainly of the length of the bits that you must discover to decrypt, and prevents widespread message security compromise. A different secret key is used for communication with every different party. If it's more simple, if it's sorted, you can use it different keys for different messages. You don't need to use always the same. Communication with other people are still secure. Okay. I don't like to say that if symmetric or asymmetric is better or not better. It depends also of the use that you want to deal with it. To manage an email account that you are using for personal or social media, if you don't have a problem about what's going on there, and you don't have it because if you are putting this info or this data in social media, you are sharing it. One kind of symmetric cryptography can be useful. Can be useful. By the other hand, if you are managing your money, for example, you should start to take care. Or if you are managing confidential or sensitive data. Okay, go ahead. Disadvantages of this symmetric cryptography: need for secure channel for secret key exchange, too many keys, original and authenticity of the message cannot be warranted. Cannot be warranted. Let's make an exercise right now. You can go to this direction, isencryption.net. There we go. Okay. Now here in this, put the chat here if you want to write something. Okay, we have a simple, well, simple. Oops. We have an exercise here and a tool to test and to try how this encryption work. So if we write here wherever we want, or another idea that we have, we can here encrypt in one of these ways. This one, encrypt, and it will give us a result of how it is encrypted. So if you want to encrypt a message, you can use this tool with this algorithm that is to make this several tests. I wanted to share you another one that I have here. This is an open resource. Let's put it in the chat. And here we can play with different algorithms, and to see how we can code and encode different. So it's quite useful and funny. You can find it on real time. You can find it on real time. And I like always to watch it on the real time, because if you only change one character, all the hash that we are creating, it changes. We are now playing with the algorithm 256, that we can play with another one, and we'll say that they are different logs. 16 bits. From the most simple. We can also hash files as easy as we have here. Okay, we have here a picture. And it's creating the hash of a document. In the time that we can create the hash of a document, we can send this hash to the blockchain, and this is what we, okay, it was maybe a little bit big. When we have this hash and we send this hash to the blockchain, we register the data, the file, the info in the blockchain. And that's what we call certificate a document in blockchain. As easy as that. It's just sending. Okay, it was big to do it online. Normally, you have your own on your desktop, on your machine. You have your own encryption apps. But what I wanted to show you here is how easy is to certificate something in blockchain, because you are creating the unique hash. You are creating the unique hash, and then you register in the blockchain in order to keep it unmuted. And in this transfer that you do through the blockchain, you send the key, the public key, the hash. You send the hash to someone who will receive it. So demystifying blockchain also, because sometimes blockchain, it seems to be something quite complicated. It's as easy as doing like that with, of course, the machine appropriated to calculate the hash of a document, like I don't know what was a picture or something like that. So give you a, if you agree, I give you 5 minutes to play with this resource and to watch and to play about how different hashes can be created, and then we come back with the rest of the presentation of today. Now it seems to be blocked. Okay. Okay, let's continue. Now that we have lived in, and we have played and we have interacted with hash, now we can say that we are a person who can encrypt anything. A person who can encrypt anything. Here's an explanation of this online tool that we said before about what this kind of text are encoded, are not encoded, and I went back. And let's continue about this discussion about asymmetric versus symmetric, and more than a discussion to see well, which one is adequate for each moment. I will remember in symmetric encryption, plain text, we start always in a plain text. That means a document. We have a secret key encryption, our personal and our key that we only know us. We convert it, we encrypt it into ciphertext, and then we need again the secret key to convert it to plain text. That means if I want to move data from one place to another, and this data, I don't want to, okay, we all travel with USB, and if we don't want to have the risk of lose or forget or whatever, or our USB with our data, we should convert this data, this text, with our secret key encryption on ciphertext. So what we'll carry with us, it will be ciphertext. That means that if someone, I don't mind the reason why, but if someone gets this document, this USB, this document, if this person doesn't have the secret key, it could not be possible to decrypt it. Okay, not possible. Maybe he can do it, but it will be really hard. Okay, it depends of the type of the encryption that we use, and we saw before that there are a lot of algorithms from 2, 3 to till 1,000 characters that we can use to encrypt a document. Okay, so symmetric encryption, it's useful. We can use it in a one direction when we are moving our data and we are receiving our data by ourselves, if there is no an exchange. Okay, but asymmetric encryption, it's the beginning is the same, this plain text, but we can use here a public key encryption. With this public key encryption, we convert it on a ciphertext. We use also algorithm. But what is the difference? The difference is that the ones who has a private key, the ones who has the ability of decrypt. So we can send it to so many people. For example, if we are in a group of friends and we want to share something between us, we all have our private key, and if someone sends us this public key, with this private key, we can decrypt the message and convert it to a game. So the main difference could be that one way, or if you want to play with small agents in this encryption data or encryption information. Going deeper with more figures, we can be how the symmetric key encryption, for example, these algorithms works in a sequence. There is a sender with a plain text that encrypt with this ciphertext. The text is encrypted here, and if there is a shared secret key, you can, with the same key, that means that it's the same key that it belongs to you, and you decide if you want to share it with someone, but is your only secret key. You can decrypt and you can play text. That means it is an unisign. By the other hand, when we're talking about asymmetric encryption, we are making a similar process. Sender, crypt, display text, and it converts to ciphertext. But the difference here is that there is not an only secret key. There is not only one key. Each key are used, different keys are used to encrypt and decrypt the message. The recipient public key and this recipient private key. That means that you don't need to share your secret key. Each one with his own key is the one who can encrypt and decrypt. So think about a document that you want to share. How it will be the best way for you to share the document? Encrypt and give someone your secret key to decrypt, or encrypt and make it possible that each one with his own key can decrypt it. Think about of a house. You've got a door. What do you prefer? Do you prefer to share your key, or do you prefer to give permission to different keys that you have known or you have control over it? If you have to access to a protected place, do you prefer, or if it would be better to enter all the people with the same key, or do you prefer to anyone can enter with his key, and of course that this key is allowed to, if this key is allowed to enter? How do you make secure a building where to access to this building is the same for all the people with the same 1, 2, 3, 4 password? Or it will be safer that each one that enters has his own code, and this own code allowed to enter to the building? So those are the different situations where the symmetric and asymmetric key encryption can be useful or not. That can be give us advantage or not. Okay, go ahead. So asymmetric versus symmetric. Cryptography, the main difference with all the two methods is that the asymmetric encryption algorithm makes us two different but related keys, one to encrypt, another one to decrypt, while symmetric encrypts use the same key to perform both encryption and decryption functions. This is the one difference. Two keys, public and private, or only one key. And the another difference, asymmetric and symmetric encryption, is the length. In asymmetric, we use longer. The length of the keys are typically set at 128 to 656, depending on the security that we need. Example, before someone talks about the digital signature, on how it works, a digital signature. Transaction, owner wants public key, create the hash. Owner zeros signature. The owner of the first public key verify his signature, and the owner with the private key sign the signature. So we have verify and we have sign. We have the two functions on see how to work this digital signature. One for send, we can say to verify if this signature of this public key is true, and the other one to validate, to say that it's true. Okay, and in this way we can be making different transactions, and in these transactions it unifies the verify and the same to unlock and continue. What is the difference between symmetric and asymmetric? It could be an answer and the question, the question and the answers. We got it in this part that we have been talking about. Symmetric encryption, one key for encryption and decryption, is a lot quicker compared to the asymmetric method, and those are some of the algorithms. The DES, maybe the DES is the most common. This is symmetric ALL encryption. By the other hand, asymmetric encryption consists of two cryptographic keys known as public key and private key. As asymmetric encryption incorporates two separate keys, the process is slowed down. We don't need speed, we need security, or we need speed. If we need faster transactions, symmetric encryption could be an option. But if we prioritize security to speed, we need asymmetric encryption. Okay? Here we got it again with the symmetric and asymmetric example of the digital signature. Signing. The data converting in the hash, this hash encrypt hash using signer's private key, and the signature certificate comes together and get it a digitally signed data. This is a certification, and you have here the hash. And if you register this one in a blockchain, you are doing it a digitally signed data on a blockchain, a certificate in blockchain. And then we have the verification. That means the bottom down to up process. Digitally signed data, we have the signature and we have the data. The data represented by a hash function. And the signature will show if we have the same hash. That's how we decrypt. That is how we verify if this document is the document that we have signed. A digital signature of a user is a cryptographically created digital identity of the user. A digital signature is a digital identity of the user. If we became maximalist about it, we can say that properly, okay, it's a digital identity, okay, but it's not the digital identity of someone, of the user. No? We can talk here more in concepts or in terms of attributes. A digital signature is attached to some data during the data transfer mechanism to ensure that the data remains intact and the original creator of data is identifiable. Digital signature in a blockchain solves three purposes. What are the three purposes solved digital signatures in a blockchain? Let's see. Authentication, make sure that the message was created by a known sender. Non-repudiation, the sender cannot deny sending the message. And integrity, the message wasn't altered in transit. So let's give now another 5 minutes to think one situation in which we need to be compliant with these three characteristics. In which situation of our professional life or personal life, whatever, we need to be sure that these three characteristics are done. And it's important and it's crucial to be properly correct with these three characteristics. So let's have a couple of minutes to think about it, and then I wait for your answers. You can write it on the chat, and if someone wants to play, you can ask me to play too. Okay, when you create an account in a web, thanks, Diego. We have one example at this time. David, as far as I know, some software offers GPG signature for the files offered. It verifies the origin of the software as well as its integrity. Okay, in this case, not a digital identity of the user, it's the digital identity of the software. That's great. Think of all the situations that we should live, that we communicating with someone, a person, a company, the public administration, whatever, that we need to make sure that the message was created by a known sender, that the sender cannot deny sending this message, and that this message wasn't altered in transit. Think about we are having this last months a lot of activity on hacking systems, on phishing, on scams, and think about how it could be avoided if we have a digital signature in blockchain, how it can avoid any of these situations. Think about this pandemic situation that we are living now, that in so many countries there is a COVID app, COVID radar, that is communicating one smartphone with another, waiting for a code. This code is something like a hash code, that once this hash code is introduced, it activates a system that make a match between different hashes created, registering different moments that you were interacting with another smartphone. Okay, think about how this digital identity and digital signature works around. In this case, we are certificating smartphone movements. Luis shared with us that a smart concert ticket, okay, that activates the address once the ticket holder is close to the concert venue arena. Very good, Luis. Think also, Luis, that if this ticket, this smart ticket, can be linked with our digital identity, it can also give us the advantages about if we have the legal age to assist to a concert, if we can drink or not drink alcohol in order our age. Also, it can allow us to be located. Also, it can be linked with with, if you don't like the GPS location, now we'll say that we can link it with our medical data, so we can know if someone is positive in COVID. You can identify him. Okay. All these situations that can scare us, with encryption, with cryptography, and with blockchain, it can be solved because they are all privacy by design. They are all give the data integrity of the people, of the person. So we can think about each and any of the digital interactions that we make in a common day, in a normal day, if we have the proper tools to encrypt this data and to keep them safe, and if we use these public and private keys just to give this privacy, but don't lose the security and the safety, we can make a lot of things. But of course, it's still a controversial discussion about if they are or not privacy or not. Think about also on facial recognition, biometric recognition, and how it is not a problem of this technology. It is a problem, or it is a situation about how we use this technology and how, if we use the right tools, and we are watching here that we have the right tools, the encryption tools, public and private keys, a blockchain, we can manage with all the confidence and all the security. So we have in our hands a real powerful tools to make a better world. Of course, there are people who are using it to make a worse world. That's why we still need to give more info about it, and that's why this DLT4ALL, it's a really good chance to be in contact with these technologies that will help us so much. So, authentication, non-repudiation, data integrity, that are the three main characteristics of or purpose of these digital signatures in a blockchain, and they will be concerned in a more in a big concept that is the digital identity, that and called also the self-sovereign identity. Okay, game theory, it is a part that I won't get deeper into it. I just want to mention it, or to put here a remark, because you will be talking with Manuel in the next seminar about it. So we can, sorry, we can move to this final mini test that we will make together. And it will be also to make us a review of all the terms that we will be talking about. So I will put the question, and please in the chat you can write the answer Maybe I can use, there was here a function. Okay, oops. Okay, I can see that you are writing the question, the answers, the question, so I don't use the pool. Okay, first of one, what type of function does Betty need to use to read the plain text message? David, answer. Respond. Okay. Decryption, validation. We are dealing with it. Wait, if someone wants to give another option, maybe. Okay, let's see the answer. Decryption. Okay. The function we need to use to read a plain text message. Remember that a plain text we saw in the different pictures is the decryption. Okay. Which approach to cryptography provides the strongest theoretical protection? Which approach to cryptography provides the strongest theoretical protection? Quantum cryptography, asymmetric cryptography, elliptic curve cryptography, classic cryptography. Also remember that in this first pilot of DLT4ALL, we are trying also to understand your reactions, and if any of the questions could be controversial, we can discuss about it, of course. So Diego has an answer. Okay, we've got 3 options from 4. Okay, when we are talking about the strongest theoretical protection, and we are talking about theoretical, also it can be interpreted in the line of what is your theoretical or what is your basis. Today, we are living with a lot of quantum maximalists, and there are a lot of people reaching for quantum as a final solution for anything. There are also maximalism on classic cryptography. I'm answering you to this question, Diego. Then if you want, we can discuss about it. Okay, going to this second question, we can see, or we can reach, that the strongest theoretical protection is the quantum cryptography right now. Right now. Of course, there are each theoretical school or each classic school or wherever, but now it's quantum cryptography the ones. Well, what bit has value MD5 produce? MD5 produce. Okay. Let's see the answer. Of course, V128. Let's continue. What is an important disadvantage of using a public key algorithm? A public key algorithm, that means asymmetric algorithm, compared to a symmetric algorithm. Let me put the number of the question because to not mix them. What is an important disadvantage of using a public key algorithm, also known as asymmetric algorithm, compared to the symmetric algorithm? Okay, you got the answer. I think that it's quite clear for each one that it was the main difference, that the symmetric algorithm is a faster process. Let's continue. Question 5. Which of the following algorithms belong to symmetric encryption? And we can say is the most characteristical or most known algorithms in encryption algorithms in symmetric encryption. Okay. Okay, let's see the answer. We've got a lot of them, okay? Maybe the last one, the D, is the most known, but also these other ones belongs to the symmetric encryption. Okay, let's see question 6. Asymmetric encryption. Why can a message encrypted with the public key only be decrypted with the receiver appropriate private key? No? So in asymmetric encryption, we are in asymmetric encryption. Why can a message encrypted with the public key only be decrypted with the receiver appropriate key? Okay, it seems that you got it clear, but the answer that they show here is B. Diego showed it at the end. A so-called one-way function with backdoor is applied for this encryption. Okay, in the asymmetric encryption, a message with the public key only can be decrypted with the receiver appropriate public key because has this function that apply during the process of the encryption. Maybe it's a little bit confusing, but this is the answer. Related question. Question 7. Okay. Sorry. Okay, where I am. Diego explained it quite well, the last one, because you can revert to the original function. Okay, question 7. Which is the largest disadvantage of the symmetric encryption? Okay, David. Okay, Nicolás. Okay, Luis. Okay, Diego. Let's close the votation. Let's see. We have a B, a C, a B, and a B. Let's see what happens. V, problem of the secure transmission of the secret key, like as the largest disadvantage. It will be close in the definition with the C ones, but the problem is the secure transmission of the secret key. It was as we talked before. That you have to give someone the secret key and can decrypt not only this message, all your message. So we can be careful. Well, this question was about the theory, the game theory that you will see tomorrow. And just for finishing, a couple of examples about application of blockchain cryptography. We discussed of any of one during this amazing conversation today, but let's see and have an overhead and overall about them. For example, remote patient monitoring, a patient agent, and the problem of it's a big problem of the management of the health data of the patients. And well, we have here a problem description, and with this problem description, we got an architecture that tries to solve, well, to show us how it can be solved. Continually streamed data presents additional security, storage, and retrieval challenges, and further inhibits initiatives to integrate data to form electronic health record systems. With streamed data challenges existing, blockchain algorithms that take too long to place data in a block and have no mechanism to determine whether every data point in every stream should be stored in such a secure way. Okay. In the healthcare industry or in the healthcare data management thing that we have a huge amount of inputs of data from different places, from devices to medical handwriting, and to make a common sense of each of them, it was been, and it's one of the biggest threats during the management. Think about these COVID times, that even now we don't have an unique and a common consensus on how to measure this data. Each one has its own references. So in this article, we present an architecture that involves this patient agent, coordination, this insertion of continuous data into blockchains to form an unique electronic health record. Very, very, very important here, the concept of digital identity. Problem, we continuously stream data present additional security, storage and retrieval challenges, and further inhibits initiatives to integrate all this data to form electronic health record system. With streamed data challenges, existing blockchain algorithms that take too long to place data into a block and have no mechanism to determine whether every data point in every stream should be stored in such a secure way. So let's see how, with the implementation of these tokens or protocol, and trying to find a standard for managing digital identity. Here we talked before, and I told you before the importance of the digital identity. And then this technological solution that helps us to integrate with Ethereum, like Ganesh and Truffle, these tools, it helps us to integrate this information through smart contracts. Another one, the digital ID for excellence, the digital decentralized identity, the same point. It's the same point as here. We have different inputs of information about our identity. In digital identity, we talk about an unique identity for each person, and then we collect info data and attributes that forms that give us our identity. So the problem it's similar, and the solution is focusing here in 2 points: ecosystem and new infrastructure. With all this, we talk here digital identities, user wallets, third-party custodians, cloud application. We need to decentralize all these identity solutions, and a key management. Identity depends on careful worded private encryption keys. The fact that the blockchain registry only stores digital identities and public keys means that loss of private keys could be catastrophic to holders. Think about if someone loses or someone gives to another his private key, he will be losing his identity. So it's a situation that we have to manage. Well, more explanation about that. Okay, credentials, and for finishing, well, let's see that the blockchain real cases or real use cases. We are fortunately we are past away the first proof of concept series, and now we are talking about real world use cases. We are talking about the scale up of solutions, and we are talking in different industries and in different sectors to solutions that we are implementing them today. So there is a huge universe of work to do here. I hope that this course, these seminars will represent to you the chance and the opportunity to start a blockchain project or to be part of a blockchain project, and you can be sure that in these following years we will see how blockchain by itself it will help to foster innovation in so many industries. So, finishing it, I would like to thank you so much for your time. I will also, like yesterday, I would like to open micros to share with you how was your impression and your feedback, and remember that I will be very happy to listen to you. Even after that, DLT4ALL, you will have the evaluations and the different ones. But I would like, and I really appreciate that if you want to share a feedback, you're welcome to do it. So I will be marking you from the list that I have here. Nicolas, you are the first one to appear here. You have opened the micro.
Hello.
The microphone. Hello, Nicolas. If you want to share something with us, I will be happy to listen to you.
Yes, okay. Well, first of all, thank you for these 2 days. And today I think that each type of encryption, symmetric and asymmetric, were very clearly explained. and also the difference between them, because I'm talking for myself. I didn't have idea of that, so I understood them very well. So thank you. And then the digital side, I think it was also very well explained. So it was great.
Okay, thank you very much. Remember that we have a lot of information on the net, on books, whatever. So if the result interest to you, feel free to continue working and studying about it. I will also want to share you my personal address, email, or well, okay, gmail.com. Gmail.com. If you want to contact me, or if you want any reference or any book or any whatever, I will be happy to share with you. Okay, thank you a lot, Nicolas. Thank you a lot. Now the next one that I got here is Luis. Luis, the mic is open to you.
Yes, thank you, Pablo. Also, very interesting these last 2 days. Much learned, I must say, especially today. And my feedback would be on the explanation of between asymmetrical and symmetrical cryptographic methodologies. The tables that you exposed were very useful. So this side-to-side comparison really helps to zoom out of the theory and compare the two topics. Also found that tool quite practical. That GitHub tool that you gave us for the generating the hashes. That was a nice practical case. I would suggest perhaps to add some practicity to the exercise, maybe generating some like a practical exercise where we generate our own hashes from beginning to end. So basically using that table and going through the whole process from the symmetrical side and also on the asymmetrical side. I think it would be nice to put it into practice and generate ideas in the use cases, the actual use cases that we would like to implement. And other than that, very useful. I will definitely come back to your presentation and review it to make sure it stays, the learnings stay with us. So thank you, Pablo.
Thank you a lot, Luis. I really appreciate your feedback, and of course the feedback is to improve, and I'm writing here that to taking in real consideration for next editions to generate more exercise or some exercise with the practical uses of generating hashes and to see how they work, and then to incorporate it to this course. So thank you very much for your feedback, Luis. Now I give the power to Diego. Diego, you got the power now.
Yeah, thank you very much, Pablo, for these 2 days. They were great. First of all, I think that was in these 2 days what great was that you did a great timeline from encryption, first from the hieroglyphs of the Egyptians to quantum cryptography. That was great because we can see the evolution. That was great.
It's a good mixture. It's a good mixture to mix the Egyptian and the quantum. Yeah.
Yeah, that was great to give perspective to the students that made the course. Then I will also say that for me are very useful in all courses, but I think that in this course is very important is the auto-evaluations. They are great because they show the people that they have understand correctly the concepts. I like them a lot, and I think that they are great because when you say the answer, you also explain it again, so that's very good. And if I may suggest, what I think that would be great is when we talk about the length of the functions, the bits, the difference between 128 and 256 bits. It will be great to put an example. There are simulations or two, like the ones you share, to see the time difference to desencrypt them, so the people can see the importance of having strong functions. To see that one very long is you need to spend hours or days to desencrypt, but a small one you can desencrypt in just a few seconds.
Yeah. You're true, and there in the exercise at the same time we can encrypt. We have to decrypt and to see what is how is the value and what is the value of have the ability or the power to decryption. So
Yes, I think that yesterday you talked about the happy birthday algorithm.
Yeah.
Yes, and that is a very easy one to try. No, if we have with an RSA, and that's, I think that's very helpful because you can see the power. You can see the power of asymmetrical functions.
Oh, okay, I will sure include the happy birthday algorithm in the explanation, so it will be quite useful to incorporate this exercise, this idea.
I think that you say that wasn't on the presentation. I knew it, so I remember. But if you put it on the presentation, I think it will be great.
Yeah, I've got it, and also yesterday you gave me the info or the input about the using the Primus numbers on encryption. Today I make a little reference, but in the following edition we will include it as an exercise because it's quite good to explain, and you that have studied it and you know it, and if you consider that it will be helpful for other students, it will be a pleasure to include it. So thank you very much, Diego.
No, thank you.
Thank you very much for your feedback. I really appreciate it. Thank you very much. Okay, Diego, now goes to David Araujo. You've got the panel, you've got the power. David has no micro, and I have here his feedback. I can read it to you, I think. I will not read the part that he is calling me bad things, but okay, I'm kidding. Thank you for intervention in the webinar. It was a good introduction to encryption and the ground basis, as well as the hash function for integrity. Sorry for not being too talk within my situation in the work environment. Nothing to empathize. It was very interesting. Only surprises by the DES implementation, given it was being theoretical, replaced by the newer AHES implementation, but it may be complicated to be implemented in a low-powered computer system. But all in all, thank you. Okay, this is the feedback for David. Thank you very much, David. Thank you very much for your feedback. And it will be included too in my remarks of this course. And no one keeps connected, so it's time to me to say to you goodbye. Thank you very much for your time, for this great experience. The DLT4ALL seminars continue tomorrow with other colleagues that I'm sure that it will be at least as important or interesting as me. You will be talking with Manuel, and you will get into the game theories and the consensus, and you will understand tomorrow, or you will see, or you can check tomorrow what we can do with these hashes functions and with these hashes, and maybe some of these questions that were around the table today, you will find the answer tomorrow. So thank you very much. Keep it coding, keep it building, and I hope that I'll see you soon in another event like that. Thank you so much for your time. It was my pleasure. Have a good day.